if this was all you did your show. How many times in a year do you get to do these open
Just once.
houses?
Just
Once.
once. Hmm.
Okay, so between the open house and the galleries, how many galleries are you in?
Just one. So that
One.
situation has reduced dramatically. And go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so my question is that enough
Oh
to
no, not
sustain?
by any,
Okay,
no, by no means. And
okay,
it's barely getting by. Again, this has been a mental struggle for me
mm-hmm.
because of splitting myself between the coast and my involvement with my
Mm-hmm.
partner and this, and trying to decide if I needed to just make it more important that I paint all the time and that I be in business, or make it more important that I spend time with him. And
Mm-hmm.
I loved every bit of this time. This was a lot of fun, and I feel like I've kind of reached a new plateau as far as what people are saying about the work, and the fact
Mm-hmm.
that I can pretty much show them the changes that have happened over the last five
Mm-hmm.
years because the work's changed. And I've gotten
Okay.
some nice responses to the new things,
Mm-hmm.
including the gallery wanted the new stuff. They liked it, and
Okay.
it's bold and strong.
Mm-hmm.
So this all feels very good. Like, here's energy to carry you forward.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I've still got the same question going on, and I can tell that he wants to spend more time together. At least I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I am still right there on the fence. I
Okay.
want to spend more time with him and paint, still paint. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just going to have to play itself out a day at a time. I don't think I
Okay.
can make long-term goals of
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ramp the business up dramatically. That doesn't
Okay.
feel right to me, even though I plan to take steps.
Mm-hmm.
I probably am going to have a shop presence before long.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame to have the new platform and not use it. And there are things that the gallery's not taking anymore. So why not put all the coastal serene work online, ready for
Mm-hmm.
sale, and see if we can begin to, get some bites.
Okay. Okay.
I
I
just
just
I've
asked.
It's just personal life ish, same thing, trying to balance. And I told somebody, I had three or four people ask me yesterday if I taught, which is normal. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, at the moment I don't. And I directed them. And I told one woman why. I said, I'm trying to balance personal life and painting. And teaching, sort of in the traditional way, keeps you tied to a spot. You need
Mm-hmm.
to be there. It needs to be repeated experience. And I'm not ready to commit to that at the moment.
Okay. Okay. That's clear. You know, that's clear. I asked because you had just come out of an experience.
Hmm.
You know, so
Yeah,
I was
same
just
problems.
curious.
Same problems exist.
Yeah, I was
But I
just
feel
curious.
really good. He came
Okay.
and stayed all day long on Saturday, which was a first for him. And of course,
Okay.
his friends came in and joined
Mhm.
him.
Mhm.
And then he came back on Sunday, and he's been extremely complimentary he has told him how proud he told me how proud he was of me. And this
Mhm.
is an uptick from the
Okay.
past in which he didn't pay so much attention. So he's beginning to get a feel of how important this is. He saw all the people come in and out,
Mhm. Mhm.
so he's getting a picture of that this is
Yeah.
significant. It's not just a daydream or somebody's wish, that I actually
Mhm.
have put the effort into all this.
And he's maybe only just getting it. I mean, lots of
Yeah,
partners of artists don't get it. They just
yeah.
don't get it.
Well, he got
So,
to
Yeah.
see a crowd of folks Sunday afternoon, and all the back and forth, and then people buying things. This was
yeah.
happening in front of him. And I thought, this is good because he's getting it. I
Mhm.
think he is. So, and I've
Mhm.
been trying to get him to quit talking about moving somewhere else. That
Mm,
that the value of in our lives are our friends and
yeah.
being
Mhm.
in a place where we have a
Yes.
lot of, we're older. How much time
Mhm.
he thinks he doesn't have a lot of time left,
Mhm.
truly, because he's let himself go and now he's feeling all the aches and pains. And I
Mhm.
just know from moving around all my life that if you build friendships, if you stay
Yes.
in that spot, those people are supportive. If we go
Yes.
somewhere else, that's great to see things, but I want to come home,
Mhm.
to where you share your life with other people.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
this may have helped underscore that
Mm.
for him. So,
Does he have any hobbies?
oh my gosh, he's an electronics guru. He's got so much stuff, it completely takes over his life. Beyond hobbies, smoking cigars and drinking red wine with his friends is his biggest outlet.
Now, I'm just wondering if there's any way that you can say, right, well, you indulge in your hobby, and I will paint.
Hey, we already do that.
Do that.
That's 16 years of doing that. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just that he's starting to want to consider more time together, and I'm not sure what that'll look like doing. If it's travel, I love to travel, but we want to
That
see
ambulance
different.
outside your house. I can
Say
see
it
the blue
again.
light.
Oh, you can see the blue lights?
Yeah.
Really?
I think the only thing you saw are the glass in the window. I have glass collection sitting in my
It
window.
looked like there was a flashing blue light.
Oh, it's the TV.
Okay.
It's not. Yeah, you'd still hear them probably if they were outside. Yeah, we're all good.
Hi, Michelle.
She's off the line.
She must have turned off.
Yeah.
She's talking to someone.
Yes. So yes, this whole I don't know if I shared. Did I share my husband's confession?
No.
With you? Okay. So a couple of days after we went to the show, he actually sent me a message and he said he had a confession. I was like, uh-oh.
You dirty old man.
So he was feeling very self-conscious. But um, he said he's experienced my success as a fashion designer. He's experienced my success as an interior designer. He's experienced my success with events and weddings and branding. Like he hasn't experienced any success with me as an artist. And so he's seeing this as this hobby that I'm wasting my time with instead of doing the thing that I've been successful at. And so his confession was going to the art show and entering this world that he really hasn't been a part of before. And just not comparing my work, but placing my work there. And he's finally seeing that, oh, there is something here. So his whole attitude has changed towards my art, which I didn't realize the weight I was carrying, by consistently trying to prove myself.
Yeah.
So I'm only sharing this because it's what it is when you have a partner. It's what it is. We need their support. It's different if you're alone. You don't need to prove yourself or need anything, but it's what it is. So I'm just sharing that too.
That's not unlike my circumstance if I want to continue in the relationship and as he wants to get closer. How do we balance him supporting and understanding? If I've been very frank with him, if you want something else, if you feel like you need to travel or want to live somewhere else, blessings, and go. Don't spend your whole life talking about not wanting to do it. I just, it all comes down to what two people value. If you don't value the same things, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. So I just threw that in after you sharing your experience. So it's a journey. Oh.
Sure.
Hi, Michelle. Hi.
I'm sorry I joined late, and I'm sorry I missed Friday.
Yeah, how are you? How have you been?
Exhausted.
Not good enough excuse.
No, we had jury week last week, and I worked here for 8 days straight, and only two of us, the jury committee had 6 members, only 2 of us repainted the gallery, rehung the gallery, made all the signage, got the reception underway, cleaned up, you know, typical thing. Everybody says they want to help and they don't. And so I'm just, I apologize. I didn't post yesterday. I was up to my gills. And so today I'm looking forward to having 2 days off tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yeah,
just
of course.
You know, but it was, but I wanted to know, and I'm sorry I missed it's probably a repeat, but I wanted to know how your show went, Marianne.
It was a lot of fun, a lot of great conversations, a lot of synchronicity with people being interested in similar things and strangers starting conversations that led us down wonderful paths. And I ended up selling 3 paintings yesterday afternoon. All were relatively small, 2 by 2 feet, 24 by 30, 20 by 24. That was telling, but I had raised my prices. Nothing was under $500. So everybody who came in spent, you know, between $550 and $600 and $700. So I was thrilled at that. You know, no more $325, you know, 2 by 2 foot paintings. That's all that's done. And I raised everything very confidently. It's like there's no question here. This price goes up because I'm producing less paintings. So it all went really well. I was pleased. I had 68 visitors. It was very successful that I gave away a little 8 by 8 painting.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how that.
At least 60 people signed up with their emails.
Wow.
So I was very pleased with that. So that starts a new hub of that possibility.
That's wonderful.
All in all, wonderful. And of course, the weather was fantastic, which is always helpful.
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, and so what give something away. Give something away. Go ahead.
Were you going to ask a question, Michelle?
Oh, no, I was going to tell you how Alexis changed her affiliate program, and I think it makes more sense. She has. Did I already talk about this before? Because I think
tell us, because we had a conversation about that.
Because you may want to be a referral partner, and a referral partner, there's really nothing other than getting a code and keeping it abreast. But she's changed her reward structure. Before, you used to get 50% regardless of the level of effort you put into. Now it makes more sense that she has 2 JV partners, which actually offer bonuses and have a course of their own or whatever. And then referral partners where you get 20%. And that is a much more sustaining model, I think. But she changed the program again. And the program now looks, and it's probably all the critical feedback we gave her, but it looks like the course that I would have liked to have taken now. But of course, I don't know. Anyway, because she's...
Sorry.
Go ahead. You talked about this Friday?
Yes, we talked about this on Friday.
Okay.
Beata is also an affiliate. She's in the affiliate group.
Right.
So she was telling us about the changes. And she also told us that we would all have access to it because the program was the same. Basically, whatever changes were going to be made to the program were going to be the same program. It does not make sense. So what Beata was trying to say was that we would all have access to the new changes. I don't know.
I didn't hear that. I'm curious. I didn't hear that at all. Maybe it's a private question she asked them.
Okay, but I happened to very coincidentally watch a video of Alexis was on Instagram, or I think I read a post where she talked about making an offer based on the theme of your art and how the theme of your art was connected to your why. And I just felt it was an elevated conversation because if you're going to make an offer based on the theme, then you're not really selling your art, you're selling the experience of your art. And I found that to be inspiring. And so this is why Beata said changes were being made, especially around that conversation. So what I proposed was that once we have access to the new changes, I don't know if we're going to have access, that we revisit this whole thing. We revisit it and see um, if we can make some progress with the changes that have been made. So I'm happy that you also brought these changes up. Just that I don't know exactly what the changes are.
Well, Shirley Ann, you and I did not sign up for her continued
No.
program, did we? So we may not have the same access that the others do that signed continued on.
I'm not in it anymore.
You aren't, okay.
Yeah. Well, again, this. So I told Beata, we're actually planning to meet she and I, if she has access to pass over the information to me so that I can repurpose it.
Absolutely.
And present it to us for a little program because Beata was talking about how, and again, I haven't been in Alexis's world, so I don't know everything.
Yeah.
But she was talking about how the focus was now sell your first 1,000.
Yes.
Online.
Yes.
As compared to jumping straight to 6 figures. And I found that to be inspiring.
Yeah.
So I really
want to wrap their head, or you can wrap your head around that. The other one is a little too big a chunk to promise people. Because some of the people's artwork is not up to a 6-figure income. I mean, there's too many people that they couldn't get that no matter how hard they try.
Well, she's also structured it in such a way that the modules are different. The first module is purpose, the second module plan, and the third module is playbook. And so she has a set of cards. Did Beata tell you about this?
Beata, yes. And I was very intrigued by these ideas.
Yeah.
So
she has a set. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Oh, no, that basically you're going to be working on one project for the whole course. And she has, there are 4 directional cards and 7 sections that go by the acronym PROFIT. So one is product, revenue, origin, funnel, internet, tech, and stats. So they're actually going to have somebody walk through. You're going to decide what your product is, and there'll be cards that define the products. Then the revenue, whether it's low, mid, high, origin, where you can find your clients, the funnel, the type of funnel, the internet, you choose the internet platform you want to use, then the tech, what tech will you need to build your funnel, and stats, what metrics you need to follow how well you're doing. And you do it in this course with a particular project, and then you come back and you have those cards with you for the whole time. So should you go to different step on your profit ladder and all of a sudden you have been dealing with the mid or low revenue and want to go to the high revenue, you pick out a different funnel, you pick out maybe a different client base. And it's so logical. I mean, I'm sure we could probably come up with the cards ourselves, but it just seemed like such a supportive way of doing it. So much more of the course is built around what you need to put it into execution. And I think that was really smart. I mean, I'm glad she's absorbing all the feedback, because this is only going to be the 4th iteration, the 4th time she's run the course. So it is getting better with time. But I didn't hear. I wish she offered like Maria Forleo's B School, where they have every year they can renew, because I think that would also grow her base. you know, make us a little bit more willing to recommend it, because so much of what turned me off to Alexis was I mean, I get both turned off, and then I say, "Oh, that's brilliant! You know, let me do it." So I'm schizoid when it comes to Alexis, because I do think I got a lot out of it, but I can't stand the Ryan Levesque, the Ask thing, and it just completely shut me down, and so that being said,
So I'm happy Beata virtually said the same thing, and I don't know why she's not here today. So on Friday, it was just the three of us, Allison, Beata, and myself. We considered, I brought forward the proposition of revisiting, especially if we have access to the new approach.
Yeah.
Right? To revisit this, and with the goal of the first 1,000. And I mean, imagine we all made that first 1,000. We would feel like we could do anything online.
Yeah. Yes, we could.
I think that's possible. That just doesn't seem all that difficult to me. If I actually got it out there, it's just getting people to it. And that can't be that difficult if I haven't had an active link really for people to click on. So
So we're going to be depending on you, Michelle, Beata, and Dee hasn't been around for a long time.
Yeah, I think Dee is see, today was the launch date. Oh,
Hi.
She's here.
Sorry for being late, but I just arrived.
Okay. We were just discussing a lot of what we discussed on Friday about revisiting the Profit Canvas.
Yeah.
So so we'll be I will contact I will do my best to collate as much new information as possible and structure it in such a way that we don't need to do everything all over again, but to start over with these new approaches. And see if it'll work this time.
Well, for your information, astrologically, it's perfectly in line for this to come up again at this time and go forward. So all very good.
All right. Well, that's affirmation.
Everything is synchronicity.
Yeah,
absolutely. So yes, I will be working with Beata, and if Michelle, whatever information you can bring to me to put together, to create a plan for us to follow, and then once we have everything, we'll start all over again. So, yes, this is wonderful. Okay. On that note, I don't have a lot to share. Nobody signed up for my first Michael's class.
Oh,
so I have two more classes. They've scheduled me for two more. So we'll see.
I'd keep throwing that hook in, because that doesn't hurt to advertise that. No matter what happens with the first three, just keep throwing the hook in.
Yes.
Somebody will walk by and go, yes,
Yeah. So it's open. My husband actually made me create a little flyer. We didn't even know where to take the flyers. We'll figure it out. And I don't have a lot to report between now and Friday, but again, I'm excited about revisiting the Profit Canvas with these changes that have been made. I'm working behind the scenes to gather all the information that I can and then put something together. So that's all with me.
I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, so Michelle, it's your turn.
Well, all I can talk about is the jury process, because that's all I did last week. And ended up admitting 10 artists, three-dimensional artists, and 7 2D. I thought the jury went really well. The jurors were all very considerate. The exception being that we have a charge that we read to the jurors, and it's all anonymous. All the applicants are anonymous. And the charge says you are judging just on the artwork alone, not on because they aren't supposed to necessarily be familiar with the artist, but it's a small community, so some are, and they might say, well, you need to be judge objectively. If you don't feel you're able to judge objectively, to please recuse yourself. But so we've had, so for the most part, everybody judged with fresh eyes and did a good job. But unfortunately, there was one woman who brought in work. And I thought she was one of the most talented painters I had ever seen. Her painting she did a series of autobiographical of her life and her coming to terms with her sexuality, the development of a young girl. And there were one pose as a innocent with her, her legs crossed, watching. She's in a position where she's bending into what looks like she's probably watching the TV. And then 2 poses of girls, one on the sofa, one on the floor, who are glaring at somebody. Now, why this particular juror, a photographer, thought they were provocative, I don't understand. But he thought they were provocative, and I asked the jury chair to please read the charge again, because they aren't supposed to evaluate on content. It's a skill, the unique voice, the original art, and everything. Well, he brought the whole thing down, and long story short, she wasn't admitted. And it really angered me, because I think this is a backlash to the Me Too movement. And I didn't find them sexually provocative, because the young girl, yes, she was wearing a skirt and her legs were open, but you didn't see any of her private part. And I thought they were like an pre-adolescent girl glaring at her mother, who told them probably to turn off the TV. I don't know. but anyway, she was derailed, and that and that upset me, but otherwise it went well. Yeah, but it just goes to show you never know the whys or the wherefores, why you may or may not be accepted, and none of us should be taking our rejections personally. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I wasn't there with you, but I'm terribly angry.
Yes, I was very angry too. I was nearly spitting bullets. So the good news is I had time to talk. When this woman came to pick up her work, I just took her aside and I said, I think you're one of the most talented painters I've ever seen. I understood. I hope she reapplies. I encouraged her to apply to the city jury. And I said, we just had a curmudgeon in our group. All the artists all of the jurors have to be in agreement. To get a 14 or 15, they all have to be on one side of the 3, and he would not change his 2.
That's just
the other two jurors gave her a 5 each. So anyway, it was, and he was the only man in the room, and none of us felt they were sexually provocative, until she got further on as she aged. But we didn't think an adolescent girl posed, playing grown up. We've all spent our lives. Has been our lives growing up. But anyway. Sorry.
Yeah. I could ask a million questions, because was he being protective of himself because of the Me Too movement, or was it patriarchal? What was the intention?
I don't know. I think maybe he's a closet pedophile. I don't know. No, please disregard that. But that's how rumors get started. I think
And
first
she
of all,
threw it out there.
but he's a photographer, so his comfort level necessarily with painting I don't know. You would hope that he could. I mean, he admitted that they were very well crafted. They're just beautiful beautiful paintings, and I don't know. We will never again have him on a jury. You know, he gave
that sounds like something that would happen 200 years ago, not today.
How old is he?
I would say he's in his 40s.
What?
That makes it even more bizarre.
Well, maybe you're right, Michelle. Maybe you're right. Something he tweaked something that made him personally uneasy.
I agree.
Yeah.
Somebody gave him the benefit of the doubt and say maybe he's a new father of a daughter. I don't know. I just didn't find it. I didn't find them provocative. I didn't find them anything but realistic.
Was provocative to him.
Him, exactly. It assaulted him.
Oh,
I mean, I don't think of an 8-year-old girl as an object of sexuality. You know, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
This will go on forever.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But that was it. That was in. That's all I did this past week. Jury.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I hope her work is shown somewhere. I hope this motivates her to show her work on even a larger platform, because
I think she's going to go places. I really do. The work was so clearly autobiographical, and she, you know, I could guess it by the age of the girl. I mean, I recognized the girl, and then when she walked in, I knew immediately who it was because she paints so beautifully. I mean, she looked just like her paintings.
Incredible. Okay, I'll let it go.
I'm still having trouble, but I will too.
Is there anything else you would like to share?
Not a word. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, Marianne, it's your turn.
There's not much else left to say other than to include Beata in a little bit of this. I had a very successful show over the weekend. Great weather brought a lot of people out. We had lots of great conversations, a lot of great synchronicity, people's lives crossing, and an interest in topics, and I'll include one. An acquaintance brought someone new in, and the new person happened to be an acupuncturist. And she happened to be someone I had been referred to but never actually pursued going to. Turned out she had left the location where she'd been practicing and was going to open a new practice now. And she mentioned that she's also involved in something that's kind of called ecstatic dance. And we'd crossed paths once before. It's where you have a playlist and everybody just dances however they feel like dancing in the moment, and it's meant to be a healing activity. And she and I got into a little discussion about dancing and about acupuncture and then about tango. And she commented that she felt like dance was one of the most healing things that she had ever witnessed. And that beyond her acupuncture, she said she'd had clients, people that she recommended dance, and she said she witnessed she's into Chinese medicine in general, and she witnessed a greater healing through people dancing than anything else she had done. And so that's why she has produced this. She's created this group, and there's another woman in town she used to do it with. Now they've gone their separate ways, and there are 2 groups in town. And she looked at me, and I could just tell there was, connection going back and forth. And she says, I just want you to know that, your continued expansion in painting would be assisted by continuing to dance, and maybe in ways beyond tango. So, she's trying to get me to go, and she was very much interested in my Chinese New Year painting that I put out for you all to see. She says, I'm interested in this. And I said, well, I'd love to trade with you. And she says, no, she says, I'm going to make the money and pay you for it. If I want it, I'm going to pay you for it. And then she said, and if it's sold already, I said, I will have giclées available. She says, we'll talk. So it was just a very interesting thing. And other people came in and we talked about the difference in my painting style before I started dancing and after I started, because I had a lookbook full of my history. And I told them the timeline at which I began to step away from that and started toward this. And someone I found out was a tango dancer who I didn't know personally. He said, I want to know how long it took you to shift from the tight work to the loose work. And I said, it took years. I said, but I think that tango was an initiator as well as doing large physical, faux finish work. I had begun in 2004 to do plasters, and I had done several thousand square feet of plaster work about the time I'd started dancing. And I would say the combination of those two things made me want to do looser work that requires more of your whole body involved than just the tight, tiny. So, I mean, we had some really nice conversations.
That's wonderful. You can manufacture this. This is wonderful.
That's the only other tidbit that really was wonderful. But I had so many people start to talk to me about not, I don't want to use the word channeling because I don't like that term, but of allowing yourself to be used by the force that seems to want to come through you. And when you're not trying to paint realism so much, when you're trying to create abstracts, you don't know where it's going anyway. So it's very easy to kind of hand yourself over to being inspired. And that's the most generic way I can say it. But we had some very nice conversations about this. And people who also, this is what was really special. You have a book of 69 people, and 4 individuals told me that they went through and selected, and they were only going to see 3 or 4 people, and I was one of them that they selected. And I didn't know these folks. So the fact that that was really, really lovely. And they're making that decision supposedly off of a 1 by 1 inch thumbnail, that they're seeing. So
that's huge.
That's huge. Yeah. So there you go.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Yes.
Yes.
This is wonderful. Wonderful.
That's it.
Are you frozen? Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Well, I hope you stay in the moment of it all for a while.
Before I have to hit the taxes this afternoon.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's what I...
Well, you can do the taxes and then go back. So.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Okay, Beata, it's your turn.
I also did a little ecstatic dance in the morning to change my mood. And even a few minutes, I usually used a Bushman healing dance on YouTube.
I'll look that up.
Okay.
And even a few minutes just totally recharge me, so it somehow can change my mood and help me throughout the day. So it's simply worth it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Otherwise, I didn't do too many things, but I created some new products in my Society 6 shop that I opened a year ago.
They look great.
And I didn't do anything with it. Even a year ago, I didn't have an idea that I should bring traffic to there. So I didn't. But it was so much fun, so I decided that I would create some more. So I'm going to do some digital painting and use it for for the Society 6 shop and create some products. Who knows? I haven't sold anything yet from this shop, but it may work somewhere.
Yes, they're. I think they're gorgeous. They're so different. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
that's very
sharp
different.
graphic. I mean, you know,
Yes.
selecting an image to go on a surface, that's a
Mm-hmm.
really sharp graphic you chose. And I think it's because of the simplicity of the color use.
Mhm.
You know, it made it kind of blocky, kind of graphic, just made it read really nicely. It's bold, you know, and it makes a strong statement, even though it's on a small item. They look great.
It really is. Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
it's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Visited Allison's website and recognized that Allison wrote her website by now speaks to the client. So I decided that I have to do that too. On that.
Sorry, we missed the last part. What did you say?
So that I visited Allison's website and recognized that she already rewrote her whole website, and now the website speaks to the client.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So she inspired me, so I'm going to rewrite mine.
You mean I've inspired you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you. That's wonderful.
Gosh, done something good for a change.
Oh.
So I'm going to try to rewrite mine.
I'm going to have to take a look at your rewritten website, Alison.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
I'm thinking
wonderful.
about it again, given the idea about the theme rather than the why, but we'll see.
Yeah, but I think that's good. Definitely good. So, nothing more from my side.
Okay. All right. It's all wonderful. It's all wonderful. And before you came, I was just saying that I forgot when we're supposed to meet. Still not myself, but we will meet and figure out how to structure something, a new plan to follow based on the new information. So, okay, thank you. Alison, it's your turn.
Okay. Just picking up on what Marianne was saying just then. Marianne. Dance. The Royal Ballet Company have a program that they run in this country, up and down the country, different schools up and down the country, where they teach people with Parkinson's disease to dance ballet.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, it really just because people with Parkinson's disease become very kind of constricted, because they're so upset by what's happening. It kind of helps them to open out, and it's been. I mean, it doesn't cure Parkinson's, but it just helps them to cope better with what's going on in their lives. And the lady I had the Colours Gene sketchbook class for the other week, the 70-year-old birthday party, she does ballet dancing 2 days a week and line dancing 1 evening a week. You wouldn't know she was 70. You wouldn't, she looks 60. It was incredible. So yeah, dance is pretty amazing stuff. What have I got to tell you?
You're looking skinny.
I'm bloody lost anymore. Trouble is, lots of dinners, but never mind. This whole thing about the theme set me on this whole new path. And most of what I do has been about fish and sea coral and seahorses, and I'm sort of moving into this whole thing about wildflowers. But it actually, thinking about it as a theme, made me think more about how a lot of what I'm making is stuff that is not seen. It's being lost or it's hidden, and some of it can potentially be lost forever. So I'm kind of sort of, without being too kind of snooty arty up myself, which most of the art world is, I'm trying to see if I can find a way to kind of rewrite my story around the theme of what I'm doing, based on things being hidden and lost and unseen and unsupported and all that kind of stuff. So it was really, really, really interesting to hear about that new direction that Alexis is taking. So yeah, that'll be fantastic if we can get up to speed with that. I did a 2-day course, Friday and Saturday. Absolutely brilliant. You will see all the prints coming out on Instagram and Facebook. I had so much fun. Loved it, loved it, loved it. That lady thinks that I should be thinking more abstract than the sort of, you heard of Rex Ray? He's an American.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I've heard of Rex Ray. I have a Rex Ray. I have a look of his. In fact, one of my paintings lately is sort of a reflection back toward him. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, amazing. So they were saying, yeah, there's hints. She said there's hints of that there. So got to decide on my direction. Anyway, I'll get there. My work went off to my tutor, my degree.
Yay!
Yeah. I did get very cross about some of it and refused to do it and told them why. And my son came home from university today. Yay!
Oh,
Yay. And I've got so much to do, I don't really know where to start. But somebody told me about it's a free, you can pay to go on it, but it's mainly free. Trello. You come across Trello?
No, I don't
know. It rings a bell, but I
did I not mention it? I mentioned it, I think, on Friday when the three of us were on. But basically, Trello is it's a system whereby you can organise your life. Oh. So you can have shopping lists. You can have, you list all your exhibitions that are coming up with your deadlines and what your application date and your delivery date and your collection date and all that kind of stuff.
Is it an app or is it software?
Well, I just went on. I just Googled Trello. Let me see if I can see what it.
Okay.
Computer, isn't it? Yeah, I just went on to my. I just Googled it.
Okay.
And you can set up boards, and then within the boards you can set up kind of pages. So I've got one that's exhibitions. So all of my exhibitions for the year are all on. So I've got I don't know 6 shows this year that I haven't done yet. So they're all on one board, and then I've got another one that I've set up for the classes that I'm teaching. Another one I've set up for classes that I'm taking, so that I can just think, oh, I've got a class coming, and you can. I haven't figured it all out yet, but you can set it up so that you get dates and things like that. So it can become a bit of a calendar, but it's not really meant to be a calendar. It's it looks like quite a good system, and it's being pushed. Well, you should know about this, Michelle, because it's been pushed by Alice Sheridan.
Oh, well, I don't know that. I must not have.
You're not on that call?
I didn't get in her group. She was on a call?
Oh, I thought you were in the group.
No, didn't make it into the group.
Oh, well, it's
no, it's okay. Are you getting a lot from the group? I
think I will. I'm sure I will. I've just been so busy with all my other stuff that I've I haven't done anything. Also with the Facebook stuff, I'm playing catch up. I hate playing catch up with these things, but I just was so busy last week. I couldn't do the class last week. I've now got to try and get the thing done today or tomorrow, because tomorrow afternoon they have it switch it around. It can be on a Monday, a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Thursday. So it was on a Thursday last week, and that's on Tuesday this week. There's just not been enough time for me to catch up. But anyway, as soon as I need to catch up with that. I need to catch up with Alice. Yeah, it's all been a bit mad.
Yeah, I hear you. I know that too.
Yeah, but I am glad that I booked onto the courses, and it was nice to be able to do something for me that didn't involve my course, isn't potentially some of the work I could put on sale for open studios, potentially. I don't know. I'll think about that. Excuse me. Yeah, that's it really. I'm now got to kind of have a big tidy up, and I have had 35 boxes. 35? No. 63 boxes sent with the open studio brochures. So my haul you can hardly get through at the moment.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So I'm going to be quite busy. I've got to go and pick up the rest of the marketing material tomorrow. So I'm going to be quite busy with people coming to the house to pick up all their stuff and kind of managing that.
You're taking on a lot.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it next year. I mean, an awful lot of this. I only took it on this year because nobody else did.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this time next year that we won't actually be in this house. So I can say I'm sorry I can't do it. I am still trying to find a studio, but nothing's popped up as yet. It's obviously not the right time. When the time is right, it will arrive. And the only other thing is that I whenever I have a show, I always have a free painting. That was my free one for the last show. And I tried only a little piece. Actually, I must sign it.
Yes.
The lady that won, I emailed her, straight after the show. Didn't hear from her. Didn't think anything of it. Kind of got busy. Got about it. Thought, I'm not heard from her. I must email her again. Anyway, she doesn't live very far from me, so I said to her, I'll drop it in this afternoon. I happen to be in your town this afternoon. I'll drop it in. And she said, I'm away at the coast. I really would have loved to have met you. So I said, well, don't worry, you're not that far away. I'm thinking, the nicer I am to this lady, potentially, the more she will want to buy. So I'm getting quite excited about this. Hopefully she will too. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's kind of me really. I haven't really got a lot else to say.
But you got a lot going on.
I've got too much going on. But that is typical of me, I'm afraid. I do take all these things on.
All good. Were you able to figure out the little problem with the screen printing when you went for the class?
Oh yeah, all my fault. Actually, all my fault. Because of the way I like to screen print, the way that I work and what I do, absolutely fine. But when teaching somebody else how to screen print, because then they're going to be doing something far more pictorial, it was a major problem. So I said to Tessa, I really screwed up. I don't know what to do. And she said, well, there's a couple of things. She said, first of all, she knows the lady that taught me how to do it in the first place. And she said, really wasn't the best person to learn from. To kind of forget what you've learned already. Let's kind of go through it step by step, and we'll start again.
Okay.
Which we did. And bearing in mind, I've sold an awful lot of work that's screen printed, but whatever. So so what I did was I wrote to the ladies and said, look, I've been to see the expert. That's what she told me, that the way I was taught wasn't correct. I now know how to do it correctly. It's only small changes, but small changes can make a big difference. I would like to offer for you to come back for a couple of hours. I'll get everything set up so you literally walk through the door and do it. I do need to order some more materials in order to be able to set it up for you. But just let me know when you'd like to come. And none of them have responded.
Huh.
Okay. Well, you've
I've
done
done
your
my bit.
part.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yes. That's wonderful.
That's quite a form of integrity there.
Yeah.
To admit that you've learned some things and go back and offer it to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's straight up.
I know that if it had happened to me, I would have walked away thinking, it wasn't really very good. I won't go back to her again. Whereas if somebody had done what I've just done, I'd think, oh, well, I'll go and do that, and I'll go to other classes because obviously she's she can be trusted.
Yes.
And I just it is that age-old thing, isn't it? Do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. That's how I would want to be treated, and that's how I'm going to treat everybody else. And if you don't like my version of being treated like that, then that's not my problem. I did have a very interesting thing. Did I tell you this about my friend who, and the problem I had with my watercolor teacher? I mentioned this on Friday.
Yes.
You told us on Friday.
Yeah. Well, I thought about it some more, and I've realised that there are two. I don't think my watercolor teacher is a narcissist. Women usually aren't narcissists. I think my watercolor teacher is a bully. And I told her so today.
Oh.
You
did? Did you go back?
Oh yeah. I said it I said, "I have trouble with you. You're such a bully." She went, "Yeah, I know I am." Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
I suppose when you're so good at what you do and so confident in what you do. I mean, she met my son for the first time. He came to the class because he came home on the train, and I said, "I'll just get off the train and come round." And whilst I went to get the car so we could pack everything in the car, she was talking to him, and she said to him, "I had to shout at them all last week. I mean, it was just ridiculous." And it was almost as if, I don't know whether she was justifying herself or whether she didn't need to tell him. I wouldn't have necessarily told him.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I have had that interaction with my son? So whether she was feeling guilty or I really don't know, but she was as nice as pie today.
She knows this. Obviously she knows this about herself. Other people have probably reflected back to her.
Yeah, possibly. But the interesting thing was thinking about her and then talking to Tessa, who's a very strong lady. She's the printmaker I was with at the weekend. And then thinking about these two other women in my life. This woman that kind of, well, I haven't seen her since December. That's fine. And the other one that dips in and out and causes rows every 5 minutes. I have realised they're both narcissists, and I haven't got time. I really haven't got time. It was my husband that actually made me finally identify that this one woman who came to my house a week ago yesterday sat and talked about how brilliant she was and how it's been proved and the report's been written and it's gone to her boss and that's it. I am brilliant. And then said not another word for the rest of the time that she was there because it was nothing else was relevant. Okay. I need these people out of my life. I don't have time for them. But anyway.
No. Right. Okay.
Got to stop attracting them.
Yeah. All right then. Before we go, even though we don't have the new material from Alexis yet, to take Allison's lead and revisit our whys and see how our whys could become a theme in our work conversationally.
Yeah. I think it might be an idea to kind of phrase it, you know, this is my story, but this is have another thing that this is the theme of my work. So to have the two, I don't know whether one should come before the other. Maybe the theme should come first.
I think they're intertwined, you know, and that's probably what makes it more compelling.
Yeah, but I think I just think that the theme is such an enormous draw. When I think about my thinking behind my work, and I start to delve deeper into what it's really about, that's far more compelling than my story. And the same is absolutely true of Beata's work that's going into this exhibition. Why she's doing it, the theme behind it, is people are far more interested in that than they probably are the person.
Yes, I agree.
Because you can identify with it. You can identify with a thing far better than you can with a person you've never met.
Absolutely. And again, this is why the whole idea of a theme is compelling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would invite us to just start thinking about it this week, so that once we have the new direction, we'll be ready to dive into it.
Yeah. I mean, and then the whole point of all of our websites and Instagram account and all of the stuff that we're doing, it shouldn't be static. It should be changing. The whole thing should be fluid.
Oh yes.
We probably need to remind each other to every 3 months to go back and double check and make sure it's saying what we want it to say. In fact, I'm going to put that in.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, probably should use that.
Yeah,
I just go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go on, Michelle.
While we were all talking, I apologize. I stepped away because there was a gallerist here from San Francisco who had come to see a Smithsonian show. And she really liked the painting behind us, behind me, which is very raw, very raw. And I call it Trip the Light Fantastic, but it's about domestic abuse. And she said, I sensed that because we talked about how raw it was. And she said that's what appealed to her about it. It was so raw. And she goes, I had a feeling that that was what it was about. But she didn't, she didn't say that. And so I think maybe you're right about theme. Although I think with that, the theme opens up your story to say, I mean, not necessarily. I've never been a domestic abuse person, but a victim of domestic abuse. But friends have, and that's why it was painted. But yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. I'm extremely bad at that, so I've got to get my website into a format that I can be revisiting it every month. Thank you. Absolutely.
Okay. While we're on the subject, I finally started following Nicholas Walton.
Okay.
And I'm very inspired by him. Again, even though I'm not an abstract painter, well, that's not what I lead with. Like there was a post, and I'm sure you've all read it or seen it because you're already in his world. I'm new to his world. Like he said it, very simply, that when somebody finds an artist, they're curious. They want to know a whole lot more about the artist. But the way I'll look for the post and I'll post it in our group. But the way he just put it together, it felt so seamless and easy. And it's all around the same subject. So I'm also inspired by those of you beginning his course, because again, I'm new to his world. I don't know what, but I'm sure he's also going to be discussing the same thing.
Yeah, and we'll share it with the group, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying we have all these layers to bring to the same subject to get us to the conclusion that we want to get to. So
he has a very gentle. He has a gentle approach.
Yeah.
And after all the exposure we've had from various things, I thought he's very good at getting ideas across. Design ideas, and the things I think that are core to paintings being good beyond just your own personal self-expression. So I think he's a good resource.
Yes, I was very inspired by the little that I saw.
I know none of you here follow my blog, which I'm just so disappointed about. But
I signed up for your blog.
Then did you read my blog last night?
Last night.
I read it.
I only do it. It goes out 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening. It goes out. But in there, I talked about the importance of being part of an art group, and in there also said that this group exists, and what we do is we each go off and we find out about stuff, and then we bring back to the group to share with the group, because actually it's far easier. We disseminate the whole lot so we can just bite-size from it. So had you read my blog, you would have known that you're all on the top line of the blog this month.
Oh, okay. Well,
now you all have to go and sign up.
Yes.
Alison, I don't know how to sign up for your blog. I couldn't find it.
Subscribe.
I think all you do is you go into my website. There is a box that says blog, and I think it asks you there if you want to. I don't know. I've never signed up to my own blog, so I don't know.
I think it said subscribe because I'm signed up.
I think the link on your Instagram goes
I don't know
to
because I already subscribed to your newsletter, but
maybe
I have no idea how to subscribe for your blog.
I will
actually. You're right. I'm signed up for the newsletter. Yeah.
Doesn't the blog go into the newsletter?
No. I write 2.
Okay.
I have to.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point of having.
Sorry.
That's the whole point of having a newsletter, so that you publish your blog to the newsletter.
No. My blog is a WordPress blog on my website. My newsletter I send out manually.
So what do you put in the newsletter?
I tell people what's happened the previous month. So I've done a show, I've sold 6 pieces, blah, 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 met some fans, and these are the things that are coming up. These are the classes you can come and sign up for. Whereas my blog has a theme. So this week it was about the benefits of belonging to an art group. Last week it was Michelle's story.
If I'm on your newsletter, I'm not going to get your blog.
That's correct. You have to go onto my website to sign up for it.
That defies the purpose.
No, I don't want to inundate people with my blog if they're not interested in signing up for it. So if my father, for instance, if I was to sign my father up to my blog, he'd tell me where to go. He doesn't want to get a weekly blog about things that he's taught all of his life at 82. He doesn't want to know about that, but he's happy to know about what my achievements have been and what I'm about to do next. Because that's like sending out a chatty story. But my blog is themed. She's not with me, are you, Shirley Ann?
Just a different mindset.
Well, to be continued, because
I would think buckets. They're buckets.
Yeah. So are these? Are you? Are you talking to 2 different groups of people? Is that your intention?
Yeah.
Because I would think that the people who signed up to your newsletter would be more interested in your blog.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Well,
because people on my newsletter are not necessarily artists. They're people that like art, but they don't want to know whether Winsor Newton paint is better than Holbein paint, or they don't want to know how to make a mobile or any of the arty things I talk about. But they are interested. Now I've got a show coming up, then they can come and visit me.
I can learn how to make a mobile from your blog.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
I'm gonna sign up.
Yeah.
I signed up to your newsletter, not your blog. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to let this go, but we will continue today.
All right.
We'll continue next time.
Okay.
So. Okay. So yes, I think we all have incredible resources to bring together and figure this equation out. So we will.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the things I've written in my blog this week is that no man is an island, which is why I think it's important to be part of a book like this. And right at the very end, I say that it takes a whole village to raise a child. And that is the same as being an artist. You need those people around you. You need those guides around you in order to be successful.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many options, and I talked to somebody about that who's an introvert like me, and we really hit it off. And darn it, I didn't get the woman's name, which just makes me crazy. She's a neighbor within the mile radius, and I'll bet I'll see her again. But we were talking about that choice of groups you get involved in, and how, you know, the more private and quiet we are, the more selective we are about which art group we want to be involved in. You know, and I was telling her about, people were saying to me, you know, I've had more than one person comment, you know, the group you're involved in is a very safe environment, isn't it? And I said, well, yeah. I mean, I feel very safe in this crowd. I feel very, very comfortable. But I'm not going out to the public group of about 50 people, you know, who get together in the public art club. I'm not interested in, I mean, they're wonderful, and I'm sure it'd be great to interact once in a while, but I don't feel the desire to go be a part of that group.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll read one last quote before I go, because I read it and I thought, wow. And it supports everything that we're talking about. Give me a minute, please, because... oh, here it is. Good. Well, it doesn't. I'll just read it. She says, if you hate being needy, that's your brain in a constant state of stress. Because the human nervous system is extremely evolved for safe emotional connection to others. Needing others is so basic to our human biology that teaching people not to need others is teaching trauma. And the major tool for this is shame. So
that sounds familiar. Did you write this on Instagram?
No, they're not my words. No, I can't write this.
Well, I thought maybe you put that up on Instagram or somewhere else. That sounds familiar.
Have I? No, it's from the Instagram. It's called Notes from Your Therapist.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the name of the Instagram. Her Instagram. Her name is Alison Dineen, Dinneen. I read that and I thought that was good to read. So,
I think the best one I've seen of late is the thing that Marianne posted, where it says there's a circle, and it says, if the people in your circle don't applaud you, change your circle.
I love that. I missed it. I love it. I better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I just pass other stuff along. I'm not not that brilliant personally, but I don't mind sharing what comes across my path.
Yeah, I just thought that was perfect. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. All right then.
What child?
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Have a
Enjoy.
wonderful week.
Thank
You
you.
too. You
Take care.
too.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Bye.